Hello Reborners, my name is Karen and this is Making Dolls with Karen. We're back with Emma. We're going to give her last coat of paint, which is going to be blush. And then we're going to tip her nails and get her in for her bake. So we're going to be using this really dark blood red blush here. We don't want to use anything any lighter because, you know, it already comes out lighter. So be careful getting it on your fingers. You'll get it all over your doll too. I just reuse my sponges over and over again until they just won't work anymore, which is a long time. You can make several dolls with it. Then once they're dry, they're plenty good for using again. I previously put a coat on her earlier today, and I let it dry so that I could put another coat on her nail and put her right in the oven. Since both coats put on the same, I didn't really think I needed to record both coats going on. It's just the same step over again, and it's pretty straightforward. You just put every coat on the same. I brush the parts that it look like the sponge won't reach, and then I sponge the rest of them. I want everything to look smooth and sponged, so I go back over the spots that I just brushed with the brush. Some of them the sponge won't touch, so that's why we do the brush as well as the sponge, and the rest of them I just do with the sponge. We want a nice finish on our doll's skin, and this sponge does the best job. I'm using the less dense sponge. You can get a dense one like this that comes from, like, you can get them at Walmart, I think, and I got mine from Dolls by Sandy because I got a whole little plasticky Ziploc bag full for 50 cents, I think. No, it was $2. They got rid of all their 50-cent ones. They were a little bit smaller than these. These are perfectly fine for pouncing the paint back off, like I'm doing right now. But they're no good for putting the paint on. They won't let go of the paint good enough, and you waste too much of your paint for one thing, and it doesn't give a very good finish on your doll either. This one is airier. This is one of those real airy ones. It's by Swisspers. It's the Jumbo Cosmetic Wedges. I get them from Amazon, and they do a much better job at putting the paint on. So I only use that kind for that, and but I can use this kind or this less dense kind to take the excess paint off. We're not trying to take all the paint off, just the excess part. I always pounce it with 2 or 3 different sponges to make sure I get all the excess off. The last thing you want to do is take your doll out of the oven, especially on the last step, and find out you didn't pounce the paint good, and now you have a rash on your doll. It looks really bad, and you don't like it. Anyway, there's her head, all done. I'll put it over here to the side, and we'll do her limbs. Her limbs are up here. I'm hoping I did her nails one more time. Oh, they're still a little bit wet. Okay, well, let's see what we can do here to not brush off what I put on with the nail stuff. Be careful, that's all I can do is go around the nails the best I can and hope it doesn't come off. That's the best you can do when you've got wet nails. I put that on in the last coat about, I don't know, 2 hours ago. I thought it'd be dry by now, but since it's this thicker stuff, it probably takes, I use this stuff from this jar for nails and lips, and it takes a little longer for it to dry, I'm sure. It's almost dry. I can tip them still without taking off the paint. I just could tell it was a little too shiny. She's gonna be so cute. I like this sculpt, but took me forever to find one. I stopped painting dolls a while back, and I had decided, oh, you know, I have enough dolls. I'm not making very much on my dolls, and I don't know, I just didn't want to do it. I was going through this period of just almost like depression, I don't know, and I stopped making dolls because I just never was going in here and coming in here. Well, not in here, it was in the other apartment, but it looked exactly like this. I was never choosing to go and make dolls. I was going, oh, tomorrow. Excuse me. So I just finally decided I'm not going to make dolls anymore. And I gave all my stuff to my niece because, you know, she was making dolls. And I did it for about, I don't know, maybe 6 months or 8 months. I don't know. And I started missing it because it is my pastime. It's what I do when I'm bored and when I don't have anything to do and when I'm just, you know, in between things to do and stuff like that. And so I found out she wasn't making dolls either because her rheumatoid arthritis had gotten so bad that it was hurting too much and she couldn't do it. So I asked her, would she mind if I took back the stuff I had gave her? And she said, no, not at all. So she brought it all back and I started back making dolls again. Well, in that time that I was not making dolls, I discontinued Emma. Before that, I believe she was available. And then after that, I didn't even notice for a while that she wasn't available. And I was trying to think of some dolls that I hadn't made in a long time. And I thought, you know, there used to be a newborn-sized doll named Emma. They have that little tiny artist kit named Emma, and it's 10 inches. But I didn't want to make her. I don't want to make a doll that little. And so I was thinking, whatever happened to that newborn doll named Emma? So I started looking for her, and she wasn't in there no more. And I looked in the discontinued kits, and she wasn't even in there. They really, truly threw her out. She was gone. And I think now they keep some of the information about the kits because people actually buy up kits and they save them, hoping, I guess, they'll discontinue them and they can sell theirs for a whole lot of money. A lot of times it'll be the artist kits. That's what they mostly discontinue. They hardly ever discontinue a Reborn kit. And Emma's a Reborn kit, but she was one of them 3/4 arm kits. And I traded her arms out because, I don't really mind if they're 3/4, but, you know, people do that are going to buy your dolls, they mind. And so I traded her arms out for some Anna limbs. Well, just her arms, not her legs. Because Anna had the right size limbs, I thought, for her. And they're pretty cute limbs. And so she got a limb replacement. I had bought some limbs at a discounted rate. I guess they had a bunch of leftover limbs. When they inspect their kits, sometimes they only find something wrong with just the head or just one arm or something like that. And so they'll have leftover pieces and they'll sell them. I imagine they put together as many kits as they can, and when they have a bunch of leftover limbs, they just sell them. But they're usually about $30 a set. What they're trying to do is keep you from buying spare parts and putting them together and make dolls for cheaper than you can buy a doll kit. So anyway, all of a sudden, these $30 limbs are now $6.99 for arms and about $8.99 for the legs. And I bought a bunch of them. I bought 2 sets of each one that they had because I'm always wanting to switch limbs. So Emma got Anna's arms, which seemed like the right size for her to me. And I just made Emmy just recently. She's in the bedroom waiting for me to do her hair. She got replacement arms and legs because she's a 1/4 baby, meaning she's almost just a cuddle. But instead of just having clothy hands and feet, they made her some hands and feet. And literally, it's just hands and feet. It cuts off at the wrist right there and the ankles. And I just like that really bad because she just looks weird. The body they make for her is too skinny, I think. It looks weird. And so I switched her out too. I switched her limbs and gave her some pearl limbs. And she got Pearl's arms and legs because, well, I had some extra Pearl limbs because I used Pearl's head for my test kit. Because at the time, I wish I had never done it, because at the time I had so many different pearls. They'd put Pearl on sale so many times. And, you know, you forget, especially when you keep your kits in a closet, you forget what's in there. And I forgot I knew I had a Pearl already. Don't get me wrong, I didn't forget that much. But I didn't know I had that many. And so I had bought her again, and I thought, oh my goodness, this is too many pearls. Especially since it's Pearl awake again. I don't even have a Pearl asleep. I only have Pearl Awake. And I said, I don't need that many Pearl Awakes. And so I used one of them as my test kit, and then I didn't use the arms and legs, so I had them extra. And there was another kit, I don't remember which one it is, but I gave that one Lilani arms and legs because I didn't like the arms and legs that came with it either. When they have really weird arms or legs, or their arms or legs look matched to their head, to me, I'll just change it. Sometimes they'll have a doll that has a head every bit as big as Emma's, but it have little tiny arms and legs. Sometimes they're artist kits and they have 3/4 limbs, and I change them for full limbs. Just all different reasons that I might change limbs. So it's a good idea if you see any limbs on sale. And when I say on sale, I mean on a sale. You're not going to be paying full price at all for them. And to have some extras, you know, because you never know when you want to change the limbs. I want to all the time. I still keep the other limbs because if I don't do anything else with them, I'll either use them for a test piece or I'll throw them all in a box. When I get too many things I don't think I'm going to use, I'll throw them in a box and sell them for a group price, all of them together for something like, you know, it might be 3 sets of limbs and it might be an odd head or something, and I'll just sell it for, you know, spare parts or something, or starter kits, or practice pieces, and the whole box is like $50, and it's a really good buy. I have one right now I have up for sale. It has an entire kit in it. Sometimes when you want to buy kits from an individual, they've got them grouped in a weird way because they know nobody's going to buy them other kits. They'll put maybe two really nice kits in there, and the rest of them will be weird kits you never heard of or you don't like or something. But they won't break them up because otherwise they can't sell them weird kits. And so I bought this box of kits, and it had this kit in it that this woman couldn't even tell me the name of, and she didn't have a COA or anything. And she said her mother had it, and she doesn't even know what kit it is. I don't know either. I've never seen that kit before. It's definitely not a Bountiful Baby kit, I can tell you that right now, because I know all their kits. But she wanted some, you know, group price for it. And I wanted the kits. I think Emma was one of them that was in there. And I wanted the kits that were in the box, but I didn't want that kit. But she wouldn't sell them separately. So I had to take the whole box. And she had 2 little 10-inch Emmas in there. And she had that kit we don't know the name of, and some other kits. And so I bought it. And I had already had some spare parts that I wanted to get rid of. Namely, a Maggie torso. I made that Maggie into a Maddox, and so I didn't need the torso anymore. And even though you can make it fit another doll, it's very difficult because I made a Harlow with a torso, and it was very, very hard getting her. I compared her head to Maggie's head. I have to say it wasn't any harder than getting Maggie's torso on her, but I put a Maggie torso on this Harlow. And it worked out plenty fine, but it was just, I don't like making torsos, and I don't like putting the doll together when they have a torso. I have a Maddox right now I have to put together, and I'm just dreading it. It's just not going to be anything good to come of that. I don't like doing it at all. But in order for him to be a Maddox, he really has to have a torso. Otherwise, he's just a wannabe, I guess. I don't know. But I'm tipping the nails now. I'm not very good at tipping because my hands are so shaky. But they do look a little better tipped than they do not tipped. Just a little better. If you can't do it, I wouldn't even worry about it. It's not that important. Some people get that powdery stuff. I think you have to get it from McPherson's. I'm not sure. But it's called Moon's Beds Tips, I think. I don't know. I can't remember exactly what it's called. But it's 3 colors. One of them's for that little part down by your cuticle where it's kind of a little bit lighter colored than your nail itself. And one's for the actual nail color, and the other one's for the tipping. Oh, Moon's Beds Tips. I think that's what it's called. I'm not sure. But anyway, it's powder. And, oh yeah, that's in that box too. Some of those powders that you see all these more experienced artists using all these. They're called pan pastels, and they use them to give their doll some kind of special treatment. I don't know. Anyway, I thought I'd try it on creases, because it's all the rage to use eyeshadow for that, and I just didn't feel like eyeshadow was going to be permanent enough. So I said, I'll just get some of that purple pan pastels. Surely that will be good enough. So I got it, and I proceeded to use it. Oh, what a bad mistake. I don't know how to use them, evidently. It was very, very messy, and I didn't do a very good job at it. So I had bought the purple color and a blending color, which is just, it's like clear almost, and you put it in your purple to make it the exact shade of purple you want, because they don't have like a huge variety of colors. They just have purple and blue and green and red, and then you use those blending colors to make them lighter, you know, because they're super, super dark. This one was so dark it almost looked like it was black. It was that dark. And so I had to put some in a container, like a lid or something, and then put some of that blending stuff in it and mix it up. And then you have to use it. And if you have more than just the finest of powder on your brush, it's going to make such a horrible mess. And I made such a horrible mess. I ended up having to strip the whole doll because you could not get the powder off of it. It was awful. And so I quit using it. See, I have tried everything for creases. Everything. And so I'm thinking, do I really want to try those powders for nails too? I don't recommend them. I don't know how they use them, but I know that they must only let the teeniest tip of their brush touch those powders, because it is super messy. Super messy. Okay, she is painted and her nails are tipped. I'm going to get her into the oven and get her final bake. And I don't usually come back and show the doll until they're rooted and they have their outfits on, and I take their picture to post them, and then I'll make a short with several dolls together and post it that way, and I'll just call it Baby Reveals or something like that, and everybody can see the progress on the dolls they've been following. And it'll be like 3 different pictures of Emma mixed. They won't be one right after the next. They'll be mixed up. Like it might be Emma and then Maddox and then another one and then another one and then back to Emma, like that, you know. And it's set to music. They are about a minute long, and you get to see how the doll looks finished. People started asking to see how the doll looked finished. I didn't used to even show any of it because, well, they're just finished. They're in my store, and I thought people would go there, but they don't want to. It's a lot of trouble just to see how a doll's finished, I guess. I don't know, but she's got a little bit of something on her arm that I don't like. And I'm not even sure what's making it look like that. I think it's some fuzz. I can't tell. I'll tell when she comes out of the oven. Usually all that stuff falls off when they bake. Anyway, she'll be probably a week. She'll be up for sale on my eBay store, which I was putting the store down in the description, but I stopped doing it. I don't know why I did that. I should do it again. But anyway, she will be up for sale, and as will about 10 other dolls, because I've got them over here. I couldn't put any of them together because I didn't have any bodies, but I got my bodies. So tomorrow's Monday. So Monday is doll put together day usually. And so I'll just sit down and I just put all the dolls I have made that week, the previous week actually, and I'll put them all together. And then I'll take them in my room and I'll dress them and photograph them in there. It's a little bit easier, you know, you can put them on the bed and stuff, you know, to photograph them. And it's about the best spot you can use in your house unless you have a photography area set up in your house, and I don't. I just have a spotlight that I turn on and shine it on the doll. So, because, you know, usually room light is just a little too dark. I have a few dolls I took their picture in room light and they just look super dark to me. But if you turn on a brighter light, it shows them better. And now if it's too bright, like I've got 4 really bright lights up here, it's a little too bright for you to really see details in a doll. It kind of washes them out, all that bright light. You don't want them too bright. So I went and got one of them lamps at Walmart that has the different little they have gooseneck little bendy things, and 3 different little lamps, and you can turn it on with 1, 2, or 3 of them and point them in whatever direction you want. It's a floor lamp. And I have it sitting kind of over to the side of my bed. And so when I get ready to make pictures of the doll, I'll just turn it on and point it to the doll, and then however much light you need, you turn 1, 2, or 3 of them on, and you can shine them right down on the doll, and because you can bend that little gooseneck whatever shape you want it, you know. And it works out real good for me, and that's how I take pictures of my dolls, is that way. And then I post them online, and then I have a bunch of shelves in my room where I sit the dolls on the shelves, and they just sit up on the shelf until they sell, and then I put a little stocking cap over their head. I make them out of, here's one. After you've made your little sock of, this is a sock that I used to make, so you see the ends cut off of it. It's a knee-high trouser sock that people wear when they wear dressy trousers, you know. They come in white and black and a whole bunch of colors, but this is a white one. But anyway, after I make my bag of glass to go inside the body, I cut this part off, and see it's still got the top cuff on it. It makes a nice little hat for your baby. I just tie a knot in it on this end, and it's like a little stocking cap. Let me see if I can grab a doll up here and show y'all how it looks. And it keeps their hair nice and straight, if you can get it on there without messing their hair up. And it's cute. It's just a little stocking cap. And they're cheap. Well, they're free, because this is the part you'd probably throw away. Here's Caspian. He's got his hair. And let's see, I'm going to put his hat on him. I got it combed over to the side, so I'll put his hat on like this. After his pictures are made, of course, because you want to keep the hair from messing up. Just slip it down over their hair like that, and it holds the hair straight down in the front and straight down in the back, and then their hair doesn't mess up while they're being shipped. Plus, you can change their clothes real easy without messing their hair up. So that's what I do with my little leftovers. I make little stocking caps for my babies. There you go, Caspian. They just need a little slight brush with a toothbrush when they get their cap taken off. I always put a note in there how to care for their hair and stuff. Anyway, enough said. I'm going to get her in the oven and get her final bake, and then she'll get her magnet and for her pacifier and all that, and then I'll put the glue on her nails and her lips and stuff. I use Eileen's paper glaze. It's very shiny, and it makes their lips be protected, and their nails too. And I also put it on their rims so that you could have seen it on Caspian. I don't know. See how shiny his rim is? It's real shiny, because I put that on there so that whenever he gets his body put on him, it's slippery, and his head will turn real easy, and he doesn't even have a neck ring on him. So it works real good. Anyway, and it costs a fraction of what the actual rims cost. So anyway, I'm going to get her in the oven and get her baked, and I'm going to ask everybody to please like, subscribe, and share, and happy reborning.